Good morning, good day, good evening, wherever in the world you may be as you're watching this video. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Turgon the Wise, coming at you with a new video because I want to talk about some things that I have some concerns about related to our beloved game, Lord of the Rings, Rise to War. Now, I'm sitting here on the announcement page and I was looking for the things that were concerning me, but it's not really in here. It just says adjusted the amount of resources offered as well as exchange rates in the market, which will take effect after the next refresh at 0 UTC. It doesn't go into the details here. To get the details, let's first log into the game. Maybe it's in the game. Maybe they just wanted to summarize it in that announcement there. Maybe they put it in the game. Is it in the game? Let's see. One of these days it'll finish loading here. Do. It's because everyone's watching. That's why it's taking so long. Holy smokes, this is ridiculous. There we go. Let's take a look. Where is those announcements? It's in here, right? Announcements. Is there anything in here? It's the same announcement, right? It's the same announcement. Let's go to Discord. Here it is. Dear tacticians, we would like to take this opportunity to explain more about the upcoming changes to the items in the market. You can obtain a great number of resources by purchasing resource items from the market in the game currently. It may include items with huge discounts. The randomness of these resource items can lead to the difference in development progress between tacticians, which affect your gaming experience. Therefore, the resource items in the market will be adjusted as follows. Remove the resource items which can be purchased with gold. Ugh. Remove the discount when using resources to purchase resource items. Ugh. Reduce the number of resources for resource items. This is terrible. What are you doing? Look at how many people don't like this versus the number of people who are like, yeah, okay. I mean, this is lopsided. This should really tell you something. If you're a developer watching this, you need to rethink this change and I think reverse it because you're going to lose a lot of users from this change. Like, this is a bad change. There are times where users literally survive off of these items in the market and you're taking it away. So you're basically making it so that if a team or an alliance snowballs, the opposing groups have absolutely nothing to lean on when their economy has been shredded. They have absolutely no chance at coming back. None, zero. At least in this, with these resources in the market, you can buy a couple of things and you can conscript some units and you can maybe get back in a fight to maybe turn things around. But you're taking all that away. The randomness of these resource items can lead to differences in development progress. Well, you know what really ultimately leads to differences in development progress? It's called money. People with more money can buy more things so they can develop more quickly. Things like gems. You can use gems to you start a building and then you can just spend the gems to finish the building's progress. And as soon as you have the resources to start another building, you can just start that. You can blast through buildings as fast as you can blast through resources. So I think the intention of the change, I'm not questioning that. I think the intention behind the change is pure, but it's not well thought through. It's really not well thought through. Because really, you're only trying to level the playing field during the first 2 weeks of the season. Because it only really takes at this point for a player like me who has 7 seasons of experience under their belt. I'm in my 7th season right now. I had all the buildings that I needed unlocked after 2 weeks. And I didn't really need to tap into that market to do it very much. So you're really only hurting newer players. You're hurting newer players. You're not hurting like it's already as level as it's going to get based upon the current system you have in place. You can't make a change like this in the middle. It's like you're on a ship from New York to London and you're like, "You know what? We're going to take half the boat to Africa. Where's the other half of the boat going to go?" Like you can't you can't separate half the boat. The boat's already sailing. You can't take half the boat one direction and the other half of the boat another direction. It's just crazy. It's nuts. It's a bad change, and you're going to lose users as a result of this. And it just makes it feel like when you do things like this, it makes it feel like you're really just catering to the top 10% of people who spend money on the game. There are people who spend egregious amounts of money on this game. And if you're making a platform that's only intended to be used by millionaires, then you're only going to end up with a few hundred, maybe a few thousand players around the world. Whereas one of the things that I think has made this game great and still kind of makes it great, but it's getting, I feel like, the light that was shining brightly when this game was launched is diminishing as a result of changes like this. And it's that you want a more robust user base. You want to cater to more users. The more users you have, the more people you have playing, the better. It's real simple economic philosophy, and I hearken it back to my college days when I was delivering pizzas. There were certain guys that I was delivering pizzas with that would only want to deliver pizzas if like the order was a certain amount so that they could get tipped more. The probability was they were going to get tipped more. So they might only take 5 orders of $50 or more, and they would get tipped like $10 an order, and then they would end up with $50 at the end of the night because they only had 5 orders with 5 tips of $10. Whereas I took as many pizzas to as many people as I could. I didn't care how big or how small the order was, and I didn't care how much the tip was that I was getting. Just by virtue of delivering 20, 30 pizzas a night, even if I was only getting tipped $2 a pizza, I still ended up with more tips than the guy who sat around doing nothing all night, only delivering 5. Now, of course, I didn't end up delivering 30 pizzas for $2 a tip and getting only $10 more than that guy because that would be silly. There's variability in how much people tip. Some people tip you very, very little for a big order. Some people tip you a lot for a small order. So that's the variability in the user base. And what you need to do is cater to the entire user base and not to just a small subsection of the user base that spends an excessive amount of money on the game. You're always going to have excessive spenders, and you're always going to have a certain amount of people who are free to play. What you need to do is make the game enjoyable for the people who are free to play as well as the people who are excessive spenders, because it's fun for excessive spenders to beat up on people who are free to play. And if you don't have anyone that's free to play because you only cater to the excessive spenders, then you end up with an environment where you're only going to have excessive spenders playing against excessive spenders. It's going to be a smaller server, smaller user base. The tactics of the game change, and it just doesn't, it ends up not fun for anyone. I don't want to see that happen to this game. I saw it happen in Game of Thrones Conquest. I was playing on a server that was just completely being run essentially by a high profile Hollywood movie star's agent. I'm not going to name any names, but I know who the agent was, and I know who the Hollywood star was. And they just had what was termed fuck off money that they could just throw at the game to ensure that they could just dominate the game. And the server sucked, and nobody wanted to play. Like tons and tons of people left the game because if you have to spend $200 a week just to survive in a mobile app game, I would much rather spend that $200 a week on something like, oh, I don't know, food, gas, clothes, other games. Like, there's so much. Like, if you expect people to spend that amount of money, then your expectations are not realistic. If you're going to cater to 100 people or 1,000 people, then your game is not going to enjoy sustainability in the long run. It's just not. You got to make it fun for everyone. You got to give everyone an opportunity to play. The way that the game was set up was fine. You don't need to change things like this. If it's not broken, don't fix it. It's a very simple concept, and I see it all the time. I see it in games, I see it in business. It drives me nuts. It's not broken. Don't fix it. There's nothing wrong with the market. The market was set up fine. If people complained about it, people are going to complain about stuff. That's fine. It happens. Let it happen. You can't make everyone happy, but you can try. Instead of just focusing on the people who are going to spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a season, and after 7 seasons, they've realized that they've spent $50,000, $60,000 on a mobile app game. How many people do you really think there are that have the disposable income to do that? It's going to be a fraction of your user base. That's why I'm talking about catering to the top 10% of the user base. Because more than likely, it's only about 10% or maybe even less of your user base that has that kind of disposable income that they can use to just buy tons and tons of gems and blow through tons and tons of mathams to create these insanely robust rosters of commanders, light side, dark side, all everything, so that they can just run around the game and slaughter everyone. There's not a lot of people that do that. They exist. I'm not saying they don't, but it's not more than 10% of your user base. And if it is more than 10% of your user base, it's because your user base has shrunk so much because you're not doing anything to help the small guy. You need to help the small guy enjoy the game so that your big guys can enjoy the game. If there's no more small guys playing the game, if there's no more medium-sized guys playing the game, then it's just big fish in the pond. What is it like swimming in a tank full of sharks? It's scary. No one wants to jump in there. No one's going to swim in a pool filled with just sharks. You need to have a diverse, sustainable ecosystem so that all different types of players can enjoy the game. There's always going to be people that are going to criticize the game and not enjoy the game, and you can let them go. But when that percentage of your user base is the majority of your user base because the changes you're deploying only cater to a small fraction of the players, and it's obvious that the players that you're catering to are the ones that excessively spend, you're going to lose your platform. That's what happened with Game of Thrones Conquest, which I still believe is being played. I'm sure it's being played still. But how many people are really playing that game? How many new users is that game generating year over year? It's low. The people who play Game of Thrones Conquest have been playing it for years and years, and they have the disposable income that they can waste to continue egregiously spending on that game. And at this point, the reason why they're still continuing to play that game is because they've invested so much into it that they can't bear to part with that investment. Now, I'm free of Game of Thrones Conquest. I'm free of that. I'm done. I played that game for almost 3 years. I'm out, and I'm never going back for exactly the reasons I have outlined during the course of this video. I pray to God that the developers and the people who are in charge of Lord of the Rings: Rise to War don't make the same mistake twice. Because one of the things I love about Lord of the Rings Rise to War is that it's an affordable game to play. You can buy stuff from the shop for $2, $5, $10, $20, and those items are impactful that allow you to grow and enjoy the game. You don't have to spend $200 a week to be competitive in Lord of the Rings Rise to War. But from what these changes are that they're making, not just the ones I'm showing on the screen here, but in general, the ones that I've been watching across, months and months and now over a year playing the game, I feel like that's the direction that we're heading in, and it makes me scared. And those are my concerns that I want to raise to everyone watching this video. And I hope that a number of people will agree with me. And if you do agree with me, please give this video a like. Shoot me a comment. If you disagree, shoot me a comment too. Give me a dislike. I'm not afraid of dislikes. Um, Maybe you're one of those excessive spenders out there that is like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make the player pool super super small so that the only people that I play against are people who can spend $10,000 a season on the game like me. If you're one of those people, I'm not trying to disparage against you, but at the same time, I just want you to understand and accept the reality that that's not everyone's. Everyone doesn't have that kind of disposable income. So if you want to use your super awesome roster to cut through, hundreds of free to play or lower spending players, then you should support the initiatives and the ideas that I'm putting forth to make it so that these lower spending players can continue to enjoy the game. Because if you lose those players, then you're gonna get bored real quick just playing against other players that have rosters just like yours, and you'll burn out of the game. And before you know it, you'll stop playing. You'll find another game. There's a gajillion games out there that we can play um, that either cost nothing or cost similar or cost less. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. If you took the time to watch this video to its completion, I appreciate your time. I value your support, and I do also appreciate your feedback, comments, questions. Let me know. Shoot me a comment in the video. Shoot me a message over Discord or in game. I'm here for you. I'm here for the community. I love this game. I love Lord of the Rings. I have read a lot, if not all, the available books that are out there. I've seen all the movies, obviously, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and even the Amazon Prime TV show. I've read Unfinished Tales. I've read Children of Hurin. I've read Baron and Luthien. I've read Fall of Gondolin. I've read the Unfinished Tales. I've read the Lord of the Rings appendices. I love this stuff. I love the lore. I love the universe. I love the game. It's a fun thing. So I just pray to God that developers don't screw this up for us, because they have a beautiful product and they don't need to go recreating the wheel and making vast changes to it to satisfy a handful of people. So that's all I have for today. Hope the rest of your day treats you well. Take care and stay well.